Well, hello there, random people who, for some reason, decide to watch this video of mine on Decisive Campaigns Barbarossa. So I'm continuing where I left off in the last episode, and my initial advances and cutting off the 10th Army here, so I'm going to close the pocket by getting this infantry unit, as well as push into this block. So the importance of crossing this bridge is, one, if I don't cross this bridge this turn, the Soviets will blow the bridge and it'll make my life much more annoying in terms of supply. And two, once I get past this bridge, I'll have a very easy route to cut off Vilnius. And that will take off I'll cut off this army as well, combined with this panzer group, closing it from the other side. That is, of course, unless they just decide to retreat, which they might do. But if they retreat, they lose all their entrenchment as well, so that's still a benefit. So you're first going to continue with my offensives into this area. Because we have surprise on our side, it's the initial attack. You get massive bonuses in terms of offensive capability on your units. So you can push through 100 entrenchment units really easily, even though normally it takes a lot more attack strength. Okay. Oops. That's a bit of an oversight. Crap. Oh, I might just end up leaving that space open. Whatever. Okay. Need to reinforce that or they might not win. Yeah, you always gotta be afraid of the stacking penalties because they don't really seem that bad, but they are pretty horrible. As they can really seriously multiply the casualties you're gonna face. And with the German army, you're already going to be stretched for manpower as soon as the first replacement phase. So any extra tanks and infantry that you're losing are going to be massive loss for the war effort. Unfortunately, as you saw there, is even in the best of circumstances, every attack with my panzers will lose at least one tank at best. I mean, at least 5 tanks at best, and that means looking at in terms of the amount of tanks I left on this one, a fully equipped tank division is really only that many tanks, which is so around 150 tanks. So if I'm losing 5 tanks each battle, and I'm going to lose maybe 20 or 30 from breakdowns, then imagine how few tanks I'll have by the time I get to Moscow crossing this massive distance here. That's the main difficulty, because once your panzer armies are no longer in fighting shape, you've essentially lost the war. Or at least in this part of the war. This game doesn't let you go on to 1942 for some reason. So you gotta win it all in one cataclysmic strike in the beginning. Okay. Okay, so I would just need one unit to close off this space, and then send the rest of my panzers out to attack this. Yeah, so that attack really wasn't worth it, and I took a lot of casualties, but the objective is completed, so I guess I just have to live with it. The 3rd Panzer Group's not going to be very large by the end of the campaign, just in terms of operational losses. So, though these losses hurt, it's really the only way that I see victory as possible. Okay, and now for the southern sector. In this sector, the main strategy I go for is pushing my panzers through this gap in the forest line, so that I can go for a surround of Lvov, however you pronounce that, so I can cut these troops off with these mountains here. Because once they run out of supply, they kind of essentially start running around with their heads chopped off and are much easier to kill. You also get bonuses when you have oh crap. That was a complete mistake. I meant to attack that with assistance. Oof, that was a bad misclick. That unit was meant to get assisted by this corp, but I clicked the wrong button and launched the attack early. Whoops. I guess not too big a deal, but still annoying, as these losses always compound. Because they're unchallenging, these guys are putting up a slightly higher fight than I'm normally used to. I should probably adapt my tactics to it, but there hasn't really been enough time for me to get used to this level of difficulty yet. So I'll just have to make do. Crap. Okay, wanted to do more damage to that unit before I sent in my panzers, but I guess I'll have to deal with this. I say panzers, but most of my attacks are done by motorized, because motorized uses a lot less fuel. And oh my god, I really lost 7 tanks off of that. Dang. These casualties are, in comparison to my other campaigns, quite insane for so early in this combat. Oh, god. Okay, well, I mean, you just gotta live with it, really. Yeah, these units in the forest, in theory, I could try to take them out, uproot them here, but actually, I guess I could go for it. Semi. Oh my god, these tank losses are ginormous. Dang. In my kind of campaigns on normal difficulty, I wouldn't be expecting to lose such large amounts of my tanks from battles that are essentially assured victories, but this game has different plans for me, clearly. Okay, this one I'll just have to go for. And hope I win. Oh my lord. Okay, that was a lot of tanks, but I won the battle. Okay. Unfortunately, the losses that I actually took from attacking really scares me in terms of the damage I'm going to take from their counter-attacks, which get fiercer and fiercer as time goes along. Yeah, as you can see here, these armies in this area from the Soviets are essentially screwed. There's really no way for them to escape this cordon before I finish it, because next turn all of these tanks are going to flow right through this 12 tank division, though they'll probably reinforce it. They're going to go right through this like tissue paper and then close off Lvov. And then I'll move in from there with my infantry armies and take out all survivors. Pretty important that I defend that, so I will send some guys back for it. Okay, so just in terms of the general consequences these higher casualties are going to have on my campaign, is I'm basically going to have to stage more refit periods in between my offensives. Normally, throughout my entire games on normal difficulty, I only needed to refit the troops once or twice to get them all the way to their objectives, because by that point I'd rounded up enough of the Soviet army that they were kind of operationally ineffective, and they had massive gaps in their lines. But in this one, because these casualties are so severe, I will most likely have to resort to waiting longer times, getting massive stores of oil, and then going for a smaller scale encirclements so that I can try to take out, let's say, 5-10 units at a time, and then hope I can destroy enough of the Soviet army that I can finally push through. I normally opt to cancel the Luftwaffe offensive to get immediate ground support, but in this case I'll leave the offensive on because I'm really scared about how much initiative the AI is going to get from the normal bonuses that they already have. Okay, and I always leave these on mock duty for a month because it gains my relationship with the commanders, and I need those relationships to keep my panzers running. Okay. Yeah, you can't put focuses on panzers if you have a negative relationship with an HQ, which I think frankly is silly because it disallows you from going against your theater leaders in most cases, because then they'll essentially destroy your war effort. And I'm assigning the artillery because I'll really need it now. Let's put it on here because they'll be attacking with that city next turn. Maybe south. I will put it on. Yeah, I think it actually makes more sense to put it on this unit because they'll need to push through Kishinev. So, of course, during World War II, the Germans also had the Romanian support. Romanian support, but they come in next turn. So this turn, this front stays silent, and then next turn it'll open up, and I'll be able to push through to Kishinev and hopefully get to Odessa by turn 4 or 5. The difficulty with this front is trying to make sure that its advances stay in pace with the advances on the southern front over here, because if this kind of goes forward too much faster than my tanks, then it's going to outpace my tank divisions, and it'll have to wait at the river. Is essentially the farthest I can move my Romanian infantry without support from German field armies over here, because once they get caught out, they'll get destroyed by the Russians, because the Romanian armies are effectively around the same quality as the Soviet armies, and they can't really fight well unless they're in defensive stance. Okay. This is, of course, the Finnish front as well, because the Finns fought with the Germans in this war, and they can't go past these border lines because that's how the treaty works, and meaning I move my troops to those border lines and then they stay there for the rest of the war. This isn't that helpful in the war effort, but in theory they take up a few Soviet divisions that I could be, I guess, otherwise fighting against me, so thanks, Finns. Good job. All I know is that they have no panzers, so they can't do encirclements, so they're basically dead to me. Okay, let's see this first end turn sequence and see what we get in terms of counterattacks out of this. I mostly expect counterattacks on my tank divisions. I'm not really sure how aggressive the Soviet player is going to be, but the amount of casualties they can inflict after being surprised like this is pretty minimal, hopefully. So as you can see here, the Soviets are seeing the danger of their situation and they're pulling out troops, but there's really no way for them to get all their troops out in time. So I should still be able to surround and conquer, or surround and destroy, most of the units that they put out to defend themselves. What's more annoying is the Soviets' strategy of defense in depth, which basically works in they have multiple layers of defense, which has the effect of draining my APs or action points, as I have to fight through so many layers of enemies that I lose combat effectiveness before I can actually complete my encirclements. There are ways around that, but they aren't that effective most of the time. Yeah, so because of the difficulty, what should have been a good first turn, like I completed all the objectives that I wanted to for that turn, really turned into an okay turn because of how much more efficiently the Soviet army fights with a 10% combat bonus. And the 20% movement bonus is frankly massive because it allows them to escape encirclements like much easier. Compounding difficulties because I have to go to greater lengths to actually get them enclosed. Okay. At least because of the air attacks, the Soviets can't activate more HQs. So I guess that's a bonus. Okay, so the Soviets continue their defenses over here, and they're pulling back their troops to essentially, well, to Riga, to what it looks like here. So I have the choice of either cutting them off at Riga or doing the cutoff, like I said before, with the 3rd Panzer group here. I'm going to see how far forward I can get. I only have 11k fuel because it doesn't refuel at 16k per turn. It's more like 10k. Though actually on this difficulty, I don't know how much fuel I even have. Yeah, I would say like you're going through butter, but the amount of tank losses we put on there are kind of ridiculous for some infantry divisions. Oh, man. Okay, that seemed reasonable. Now, the question is whether or not it is no. Okay, so Vilnius is not empty, so we're going to need to go through the normal tactics of surrounding and destroying the troops that are in there before we can take the city. This isn't too big a deal, but it's really compounded by the fact that I can't send these panda group across the lines without taking a points penalty, which actually I would take around like 6, I think. There, improve their allocations, keep them as the same. There's really no need to ever be switching up your oil allocations, because if you do that, then you might unbalance one theater to where you can't actually do anything. Yep. On the other hand, those security divisions are more like death squads as well, and they're going to be attacking the population as soon as they get put into place, so there are a multitude of reasons why I wouldn't want them. Okay. Let's deal with this pocket, which has, I guess that's as much units as it normally does, though I guess it, whatever. Okay. Yeah, starved of supply, they fight at like 2/3 combat effectiveness. Okay, so much for 2/3. The entrenchments from being in the woods are much more annoying than I thought. Dang. Good lord. This is going to be much harder than I thought. Jesus. Even encirclements like this are not going to plan in terms of casualties. Ugh. Okay, well, I should still take the city at least. Gotta move these in, and now it doesn't give me bonus. Okay, oh darn it. I made a mistake, and now these are all going to be out of supply. Use command range next turn. Oh well, that's fine. Okay, that went according to plan, and now all those troops are dead. Or more like captured and killed. Yeah, it's still killed. Okay. Over here, forcing these units out of the forest. Why do I keep saying jungle for some reason? I don't know. Out of the forest is a bit more annoying because of the combat bonuses the Soviets get, so I normally just tend to leave them for a few turns so that they can really enjoy that lack of supply before I finally go in there and take them out. Okay. Yeah, in this case, I would probably instead send these Panzer divisions to cut off the Riga escape route, because frankly, the amount of units I'm going to kill by completing this encirclement is only like 5 or 6 divisions. Encircling this is a good idea, and I plan on doing that, but encircling all of these divisions seems pointless. Actually, no, these infantry are fresh. I'll cut them off. Yeah. Under almost all cases, the Russians need at least like 3-to-1 superiority to make any serious advance against our troops, so these singular divisions holding the line should be fine. I of course say should because I unfortunately tend to be proven wrong a lot in this game. A lot more than I'd like. Yeah, so these divisions around near Minsk are retreating there, and I assume they're going to form some kind of defensive line there. I'm going to take Vilnius with my next turn, and then after that I'm going to kind of sit back and let oil refuel for a turn, and then try to array all my panzers in a better position to attack. The plan more than victory for me is keeping the actual army intact, because frankly, I'm not necessarily sure I can even win this scenario, because they are really hard, almost always, but if I can show you an intact German army, I'll show you how, victory is pretty much possible, even if I was unable to achieve it in this particular run. Okay. Ugh. These casualties. Oh well, I assume they're more realistic or something. But they're definitely painful is what they are. Oh my god. I misclicked again and sent these troops there when it should have been there. Okay. Okay, and then these last three. Oh crud, I don't have enough to... Uh-oh. Yeah, I don't have enough to close gaps now. This is problematic. So all these divisions are going to be cut off, and the reason Riga is not claimed by zone control is because there's a garrison in there. He's hidden, so my units can't see him because there's not enough recon, but I just know he's there from intuition, basically. This intuition is, of course, almost always right, except when it's not. Yep, as you can see, the unit's guarding. So yeah, these units have here the possibility of being cut off, but that's really countered by the fact that one, I can kind of just rescue them the next turn anyway, and two, the fact that they're panzer divisions, so they can just fight their way out. And I doubt they'll attack this corps here. I mean, this headquarters, because the headquarters has some defensive capabilities as well, and these guys are all in a neutral stance, so nah, they're not gonna do it. Okay. Yep, always keep your rail lines open. Yeah, as you can see, by the way the panzers clear out the rail lines, it becomes extremely easy for infantry forces to then use said rail lines to catch up with the panzer forces, and that's why you kind of want to do a combination of attack and then wait for your infantry to catch up and then attack. What really sucks is my lack of reconnaissance around Minsk, but that should be rectified soon as my troops get into position.